There's really been just such a deep, deep, deep appreciation for this country that I have, a love that I have for this country. My father fought in World War II. My brother fought in the first Iran conflict. I'm a huge history buff. People don't know that about me, but um, I just really, really appreciate the moment that we get to spend on the 4th of July. And it brings me back into remembering what this country means to me and to my family. And I know several of the people in this congregation feel the same way. In fact, I know that we've got some people who have actually served in the armed forces. Could we have those people stand up for us, please, so we can honor them? Anybody who's served in the armed forces, can we have them stand up for us, please? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for your service to our country. And underneath all of it, when you really study the history of the country, what is it that they were really trying? Why? Why was this country born? It came down in my mind to the message that you hear all the time at this time of the year, and it has to do with freedom. It has to do with this idea of being held down, being oppressed, not being able to live a full expression of who and what you are. And when I think about it from the spiritual standpoint, of course, I'm always going to tie it back to our spiritual journeys. Um, it's just the memory, like this thing is real. This idea or this thought of having this peace inside of you that's a beautiful piece of the divine, a beautiful piece of God, and that when all of a sudden you come to the realization that, hey, I think I'm a little bit more than this skin suit, if you will, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a minute. There's something inside of me that I know that if I just spend a little bit of time with and go into relationship with, which we're not taught about, we're not told about. In fact, for the most part, we're told to ignore. Then all of a sudden it gives us the opportunity to have an experience like none other. And we've been told this by so many of the masters, so many people throughout the course of history. And it's a thing that I just want to keep shouting as loud as I can for as long as I can. This isn't just a story. This can be a lived experience. This idea of freedom, this idea of expression, this idea of truly being who and what you are, which is a divine child of God, to have this experience of God using you, and I mean that literally. Think about that. And I mean that in such a loving sense, to having the divine coming into you and just using you to be God's eyes, his ears, his hands, his tongue, his actions, the things that God does. And then all of a sudden you have this amazing experience. And to live that experience, the Fillmores certainly were the ones that showed me the way and showed so many in this room the way. Myrtle breaking free of tuberculosis and healing herself, and then Charles going, wow, maybe I should pay attention to this. Maybe she's got something going on I need to learn about. And then, of course, Charles follows right behind her. Folks, this thing is real. There is a way for you to have your own expression of freedom. There is. Each one of us that looks just a little bit different. And if I were to sit down and talk to each and every one of you, you all would have a little bit of a different story on how it works for you. Contrary to common belief, there is no one size fits all when it comes to your own spiritual awakening and your own spiritual journey. That's not the way that it works in any way, shape, or form. It's different. However, the process of going within, that is the same. That's how we find it. We find it by going within. We find it by paying attention to what our soul is calling us into. My experience has been the soul is always tapping you on the shoulder and saying, come here, come here. And when we start to listen to that and we start to follow those nudges, we start to follow whatever the messages are, it leads us closer, ultimately, to the relationship with ourselves, to the relationship with God, to the relationship with one another, because my experience is no matter how much this world wants to tell you the opposite, my belief and understanding is we really are all one. We all came from the same place. We're all going to the same place. Ram Dass said, "We're all just helping each other go home." I love that. I love it. So I'm glad you're here. We've got a lot on the schedule today, and I'm excited. And thank you. Thank you for being here. I always say this, we collectively get to create this experience. So I just want you for a moment just to think about what is it that I would like to contribute to this pot of soup that we're making today from a consciousness level. Love, happiness, compassion, forgiveness, grace, power, and all the stuff. So just think about whatever you'd like to add to it. And yeah, I'm really glad you're here. So thank you for that.